Welcome to my online session. My name is Mandy Dhillon and I will be covering making your workflow work for you. Today I will be covering a little bit about myself, the equipment I have, my setup and my editing. Okay, so I got married and I got pregnant and I had a little baby, and I decided that I wanted a little bit of a better work-life balance. I wanted to do something where I could work more from home, and my best friend, who was a wedding photographer at the time, suggested that I became a wedding videographer, and that maybe that the two of us could work together on weekends. I knew I needed some experience, so I decided to make some phone calls to see if I can get somebody to just let me kind of tag along with them, help them and learn a little bit more about the industry before I made a decision whether to do this or not. Because I was trying to get into the Asian wedding industry, it's very, very male dominated. And there actually wasn't at that particular time any female wedding videographers. So when they got a phone call from me saying that it was something that I was looking to get into, I got such a weird response. Things like, it's no place for a woman. Apparently I wouldn't last 5 minutes. I got people just laughing at me and saying there's no way that I could actually do this. So I decided that if I'm not going to be able to get the experience, then maybe I need to find some footage, and the only way to find some footage to edit would be maybe if I film somebody's wedding. So that particular weekend I was spray tanning a client who I knew was getting married that weekend, and when she came into the salon, I think on a Wednesday, I asked her if she was having a wedding filmed, and she wasn't. She just got a photographer on the day, and I asked how she felt if I turned up and filmed her wedding. She was over the moon. So that evening, I literally went and ordered a camcorder, a light and tripod. And I turned up to her wedding and I filmed her wedding, and I absolutely enjoyed being part of the whole day. And I kind of knew then that yes, this is something I want to get involved in. But anyway, the hard work started when I got home and I realised I had some footage on some little tapes and I needed to edit them. And without taking the tapes out and cutting them and trying to glue them back together, I had no idea how I was going to edit this wedding. So that's when a lot of my research happened, and YouTube actually became one of my best friends. I taught myself absolutely everything regarding editing on that platform, and basically the rest is history. I have now filmed, I don't know, between 20-30 weddings a year. I film internationally, India, I think maybe being the furthest I've been. Okay, so now let's talk about my equipment. I've got some Canon Mark IVs, Canon Mark IIIs, I've got some Sony A7s, the Mark I and Mark III. I have a Sony NX70 and a Sony NX80, a GoPro, Allegria, a DJI Rollin S. I have some tripods, some monos and lights and some light stands. And as audio collection, I have a H6, some Sony TX650s, some Yamaha C24s and a wireless mic. I have a Spark drone. I have some radios with some headsets. That's what I use to communicate between my team. Lens wise, I have a 70-200, 24-70, 16-35 and a 100mm macro. Card preparation is part of me preparing for a shoot. All my cards are colour coordinated, and each of my cameras will have a different colour card inside it. And might not make too much sense now, but when you go back to downloading the footage, It just makes life so much easier, so that you know that the whole green cards were your zoom lens camera, your pink cards were your wide angle, your yellow cards were your safe camera, and it just kind of makes editing a little bit more simpler for you. Okay, so shoot preparation. Make sure that you format all your cards in the office. Never, ever, ever format any of your cards on shoot, just in case you end up formatting the wrong card. Before formatting the cards, obviously just check that whatever's on that card has already been backed up. Clean all your lenses, and I always put a formatted new card into each camera before I put the camera away. Camera preparation, obviously you've cleaned your lenses. Make sure that you charge all your batteries. They are fully charged before you leave. And just check that your cameras are all on the correct settings, so that when you do get to a shoot, you can just grab a camera and just shoot straight away. Okay, so filming on the day, everybody has their own style. I film very naturally. I try my best never to stop the event to get a certain shot. I like really to just be in the background. So when we first get there, there's going to be the bride or groom preps. I try my best to capture this on one body, and I do tend to swap between lenses, 100mm macro, the 70-200 and the 24-70. The reason why I just capture it on one lens is just makes my life easier when I'm editing it when I get back to the studio. Okay, so this is my normal ceremony setup. As you can see, number one is where I would put my Sony NX80 to get a safe shot. Number two is a very small camera. It's called a Legria, and it films wide angle. And I will sit that right in front of the Guru Granth Sahib, facing just the bride and groom. Camera 3 will be on a 16-35, again concentrating on bride and groom and guests. Camera 4 with a 24-70mm lens will be focused on the Kirtan singers and any speakers. Canon 70-200 lens will be a floating camera, where I would kind of move every so often depending on what was happening around the ceremony. And camera 6 would be my rolling S. Dancefloor setup, again roughly about 4 cameras. Camera 1, I normally have a 70-200 on. Camera 2 is my safe camera, which is my Sony NX80, and that's normally very high and wide, trying to get the whole of the dance floor. Camera 3 is my stabilizer, so I kind of mix between the two. If I'm not filming from the Canon on the 70-200, I pick up my rolling S and I'll go into the dance floor and get some footage. And then camera 4 is another wide angle Canon 16-35, again aiming to get as much of the dance floor as I possibly can. Collecting audio on the day, I have an H6, 2 options. I will either put it on a little tripod in front of the speakers, or I will connect it directly to the DJ. It just depends on the situation on the day. I have a Sony TX650, which I can actually attach onto any of the speakers for any of the speeches. Or if there's too many speakers and I haven't got enough audio, I will tape it to one of the mics that the DJ might hand over to them. And the Yamaha C24s with lapel mics are used for any speeches too. Backing up is really important. I make 4 copies of each card. One sits on my PC. The second sits on 2 hard drives. One hard drive that will stay in the office, and the second hard drive will go off-site once it's full. And I also have a Synology 5-bay backing up system, which I will back absolutely everything onto. Okay, so once you've downloaded the cards, I suggest you just rename the cards as whatever your cards are. So I've got mine as green 1, green 2, pink 1, pink 2, etc, etc. Then I would advise you to actually rename the clips within the cards to make your life easier when you are editing. And to do that, it's very simple. You go to the card, right click it, then press Ctrl and A, which highlights the lot for you. Right click them, press rename and rename the card. Press enter and it does it for you. Okay, so importing footage, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can go into the project folder, right click, press import, find the individual footage that you want, or drag a few at the same time, highlights a couple at the same time, press open and it imports it in there. Or the other way that I like doing it is going straight into your computer, finding the footage that you want to import, grabbing the actual folder, popping it into the project bin, and you'll see it just brings all the clips in together at the same time. Okay, so once you start to download a number of different footages and audios, you'll notice that your project bin starts looking very messy. So it's a very good idea to keep this looking as neat as you possibly can so that you can find what you need straight away. So the best way to do it would be, down here is a little folder and it says new bin, or if you right click it, it also comes up here as a new bin. If you click onto that, it puts a new bin into your project, and basically you just name it. For example, the first one I'll name is footage. So anything that's footage related in my project, I will move into this folder. So this is footage, goes into there. This is more footage, goes into there. This is more footage, and that goes into there. And once I close that, all my footage is in there. And I'll do the same with my audio tracks. Let's call that music. And I'll put all the audio into here. So there you go, it's looking as neat as it possibly can at the moment. And when I need to find an audio track or any of my music, it's there. If I need footage, it's there. Okay, so once you've managed to get all the footage that you need in your project, you then need to transfer it onto the timeline. So you just find the footage, highlight which footage you want, and you drag it over onto your timeline. Okay, so the first bit of editing tools I want to speak about is a selection tool. So basically what it allows you to do is select your footage and move it. So you can do it a number of times, move your footage around as many times as you want. So just going to speak about the razor tool, which is just shown here. And basically what that allows you to do is cut your clip wherever you'd like and as many times as you want. Okay, so next is what we call the rate stretch tool. So here you can see a clip, and you can see it's just about 30 seconds long. And if I grab the clip and move it, I can stretch it. So now that clip is 2 minutes long. And if I play it back, it will be slow-mo. Next, we have the track select tool. It looks like that once it's selected, and basically what it allows you to do is, instead of selecting one clip, it allows you to select a number of clips. So anything in front of it, it will move. Ripple delete is next, and this is something that I use on a regular basis, especially when you're editing multi-camera, what you'll tend to find is that you will end up with lots of different footage on different timelines, and sometimes you just need to get rid of the gap in between. So all you do, you see the gap, you right click it, you press ripple delete, and it throws everything from the right to the left. So here's a way of speeding up your footage. You can also slow it down this way, and I'll talk to you about that now. So select the footage that you want to speed up, and all you do is you right click, you find speed, and you make that number larger than 100. Press OK. It shortens the clip, and it's being sped up by what it says there is 300%. You can also use the same tool here to reduce the speed by lowering the number from 100, and it reduces the speed for you if you don't want to use the stretch tool that we spoke about earlier. Okay, so next I want to teach you how to reverse the footage. As you can see here, you've got this little girl moving forward, and we're going to reverse that by right clicking, speed and duration, and then you see the reverse speed. You tick the box, press OK, and then when you play it back, you'll see that the girl is then walking backwards. Okay, so see, in certain tracks, when you're editing multi-camera, the footage that you'll see on in your program will be the whatever's on the highest track. So here you can see on video 3 is what we're going to be seeing first. So this is video 3. But then this little icon with the eye, if I was to turn that off, now the footage I'm able to see is video 2 track footage. And again, if I turn the eye off there, you will now be able to see the footage of video 1. So that's a really good way of just seeing what's underneath each of your timelines. Using transitions. Once you've put some clips together on your timeline, you want to be able to use transitions to transfer from one clip to the other, so that it doesn't look too harsh. You can do this by either syncing it to music or using transitions that you will find here in your effects bit column, and then you'll see there's loads. Once you find the one that you want, you just drag it across. Cross dissolve is probably the one I most use, but you do have loads of other ones like these funky ones, which I'll show you. And you'll see here, if we was to play that back, that's cross dissolve. And here's another one. And then you'll see this one as well. But there's like loads to choose from, and it's just a case of going through them and picking your favourites. As I said earlier, cross dissolve is the one I use most of, and this is a way of putting cross dissolve on all your clips to make it easy. What you do is you can see there's no transition there, so you highlight the clips, go to sequence, find apply default transition, and it by default puts cross dissolve in. Okay, so when you are recording with multiple cameras, for you to be able to edit it all together, you need to sync each timeline so it matches each clip together. And to be doing that physically by listening to it or looking at the clips would take you hours, months, years to even do. So what I tend to use is a program called Pluralize, and it's designed to sync all your footage together. End product, there's various different ways I present my product to my clients. Online upload being my favorite one at the moment. There is the USB stick, Blu-ray discs, and even still, yes, believe it or not, DVDs. Online upload is done through a company called MediaZilla. If you have any questions, feel free to email them across to me at info@vid-ego.com,